Now we're going to look at the data that, remember Jack, I have a friend in IT that promised to send me some detailed data that I will be able to build the necessary reports from. So we're going to dive right into the Excel I just got and see how can I do the task with more success this time. So let's switch to Excel. And this is what I got. It's looked like a pretty big range of data. If I go down by control down arrow, you see that there's like over 56,000 rows. If I go across, I see that I have from columns A to N. And when I start looking at a little bit of the data, I see that I have the data summarized to each day. I have a column for the year because probably I would like to do some analysis on year. That's good. I have the customer ID, the customer age, the gender for the country. I have some information about where the customer came from, country and state. I have information by product, and I have some numbers like the cost of the sale, how much did it cost us, and how much revenue we got. So it seems indeed that this is a totally different approach. This is very detailed data, but I need to somehow analyze it and visualizing to produce the results that we want. Now, if I remember, Jack mentioned something about Excel tables. I thought, and probably you think, that Excel is just one big table. So why would you need tables as an object in Excel? So there is a new feature in Excel that you see it says there, tell me what you want to do. It's in the top. Tell me what you want to do. This is something that was introduced to help people that are looking for something in Excel to just say what they are looking for, and it will tell them. So I'm just saying a table. I don't know. Someone said a table, and it comes as insert table. Okay, let's try that. Insert table. I clicked on it. I open the dialog, says the data, where is it? And it's guessed that it's from A1 to N 50,000, and it has headers. I agree to everything, so I click OK. And immediately, the data looks very different. So now I'll switch for a moment to my Excel hat and explain to you a little bit of what happened here. So this is an Excel table. How do I know? First of all, it looks different. It's not like a regular range. Also notice that when I'm on this table, in the ribbon, there is a new area called Table Tools. And I have a whole area here of specific features, which are features for the table. If I'm going out of the table, this disappeared. So this is very typical to all kinds of objects in Excel, like charts, pivot table that we will see before. They see forward, and so that when I'm parking on them, there is new content in the ribbon. So what else? There is this drop-downs that I'm familiar with that are part of filtering. So I can click the drop-down here. This is not specific to tables. It's available also even before this data was a table. But with this, I can actually start filtering the data. I can say I want to see just data from 2016. I can say that I only want to see data from a specific country. So I can uncheck and check one country, let's say France. And in the bottom here, I see how many rows are left. Actually, now I see that there are only 2975 out of 56,518 rows that are filtered by those two columns, the year column and country column. There's more thing that I can do with this. For example, I see that there is, I can add a total row so I click on total row. When I go to the bottom, I can see that now for each column there is one is already provided for me. You see here, there's a total for this column, but I can go to any column that I want and create all kinds of totals and aggregates. I can see the sum, which is normal for a column like this for cost. If I go to, let's say, a date, I can say that I want for the date, I want the minimum, which will be like the first date. And I see that the first date now is January 1st, 16, because I'm actually filtered on the year 2016. So it's pretty cool, and I can see that I can use tables for filtering and filtering the data and creating summaries. But this is not all, and this is also not what I everything that I needed for creating my report. What else can I do with the table? I remember that one of the things that Lucy was asking me was to create, to be able to create reports based on the customer ages, and not just age like 25, 26, 27, but to bucket the ages in some meaningful buckets that I will be able to report on. In order to do that, I know that I need to create a new column that is going to be in the table and represent this customer buckets. So I can go here and say that I want to insert a new column to the table. I will give it a name. I will say that this will be customer, let's say bucket, or age bucket, or age group, or something like that. And the usual approach that I will take to do this kind of column will be what is called a nested if. Let me switch for a moment to my PowerPoint and show you how will such a expression look normally. It will be a series of ifs nested within each other. If age is less than 31, then return this value. If not, if it's less than 51, return another value, and so on. And then I have to close all these parentheses. So I have a function within function within function for as many groups as I want, and then I have to close all of them, as it's called. And you also might notice that actually this function doesn't look exactly, this formula doesn't look exactly like what you expect with normal functions. I will explain in a moment when we go back to our table. So one thing is that if you saw that the moment if I click equals and I go to the customer age, you will see that the expression that is coming is not referencing like you normally would to say like equals E2 or G13 or something like that. It actually refers to the column by name, in this case, customer age. So this is one thing. This is one of the behaviors of the table, and you will see that once I create the entire formula, it will be much more readable because it uses column names. But because this is, as I said, this is Excel 2016, and not only Excel 2016 is a constantly improving Excel version that I'm getting new features and new functions periodically based on my subscription to Office 365, there is a new function that I can use called equals ifs. The ifs function is a better approach to doing this kind of nesting. So using this function, I can do something like that. Ifs, and then the first expression is the age is less than, let's say, 20, then return the value less than 20. Otherwise, and I don't need to open a new if, I'm staying with the same, within the same function. Now I say customer age less than 31, then I'm going to return that the age group is between 21 and 30. And so on and so forth. For as many buckets that I want, I'll do a couple more. So here is between 31 and 40. And let's say, for now, I don't want to bore you too much, so let's say that if the customer age is greater than 41, we'll call it greater than 41. So that's the final thing. And that's it. So when you look at the expression, it's simpler because it doesn't have this nested functions one within the other, doesn't have so many closing parentheses that I need to count and make sure that they are all fine. On the other hand, I have the values here for each one of the users by their age. I can see, even if I open the drop down here, I see that I have all these groups. I have some error here probably that I will have to fix because some of them are coming as if they don't have a proper value, so maybe I did some mistake. I don't want to dwell too much on that. So I do have my customer buckets, and now the next thing I want to do is, remember, I have a table, and I was able, using the table, I was able to filter. I can also sort. For example, if I want to sort this, yeah, I can sort it by age, see my older customers on descending order. So I can filter, I can sort, I can do summaries, I can do calculated columns, but this is not getting into really the results I need to create reports to show to someone. This is a good thing, a good way to know the data, to explore it a little bit, but I need to go to use a more advanced tool to create actually the necessary summaries, the necessary reports. And this is where I'm going to need another tool, which is the pivot table. And in the next module, the next video, we'll go and explore the same data that we have here using a pivot table, and we'll see that the pivot table based on the table, with combination with also something called a pivot chart and another object called a slicer. So the three of them together, pivot tables, pivot chart, and slicers, will give us the right combination to create dashboards and reports that will enable very flexible reporting. And I'm sure that Lucy will be happy using this combination of tools. Thanks. See you next time.